Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am Rickerboom, and it's been a bit too long since we've done a HeartGold run, and what better way to hop back into that than doing an all-babies Pokemon challenge? Is this possible? I'm sure, because it's a full team and not a solo run. Is it going to be easy? Probably not. Am I going to hate Pichu by the end of this? Yeah, most likely. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the rules here. I can only use baby Pokemon in battle, but other Pokemon are allowed for HM use if needed. I do allow item and TM glitches, but that's mostly to save me time because I don't feel like playing Voltorb Flip for 5 hours. There wouldn't be much entertainment value to me grinding for hours on stream, and my community voted on it when I first started these challenges. With that being out of the way, I think it's a good time to go ahead and dive headfirst into this run. Using the Universal Pokemon Randomizer, I switch out a starter for Pichu, who we nicknamed Chopsta. In this event, since we have an electric type to counter Totodile, a Magby later on to counter Bayleaf, and a Togepi that's actually somewhat solid against all three, I didn't put too much thought into which starter to replace. With that, since we are going to have probably a fairly full team, I'm going to be naming all of the Pokemon after different streamer and YouTuber friends that I've made. With Chopsta here, he is primarily a Dead by Daylight player, and he's pretty fantastic. He's a solid killer, but he also plays Survivor, and if you've been watching my DVD series, yes, this is a casual double promotion, you've heard his voice before. Anyway, make sure to check him out, and tell him I'm sorry for naming a weak Pichu after him. Even though he technically already knows. Anyway, we go to Mr. Pokemon's house to get that started, and on the way we run into a red-headed lad who's kind enough to drop his birth certificate at our feet, after we beat him, of course. Not much to recap in this battle, especially with it being so early in the game. We chose Cyndaquil for no particular reason, and he goes down to a few Thundershocks. As we head back and nearly get convicted of a crime we didn't commit, we name our rival IBS. For those that don't know, I have IBS, and anyone that does know or has it themselves can confirm it is truly a crappy rival. Now that I've lost everyone that was watching this video, we're going to go ahead and move on to Violet City. Now here is where we start running into some issues. Grass resists electric moves, and we have no way of getting any physical moves that they don't resist. We do eventually make our way through, and from there, it's time to head into our first gym, which thankfully we have a type advantage against. The trainers were able to take down pretty easily, and in no time at all, it's time to face Falconer. Falconer sends out Pidgey first, and Chopsta hits it with a Thundershock to take it to red as it tackles us. A second Thundershock is enough to take it down. Pidgeotto comes out next, and we hit it with Thunder Wave to paralyze it. A tackle brings us all the way to 5, so we hit it with a Sweet Kiss to confuse it. It hits itself, and we land a decent Thundershock. It hits itself again, and we hit another Thundershock to take a very narrow, but also first try victory. After this, we get an egg, and who knows what it'll be. I certainly don't, because I've never played— oh, it's a Togepi! We named the Togepi Ari, who you may remember off the Snorlax challenge. If not, she is also a variety streamer. She does amazing artwork and actually made some of the emotes that are on this channel and the thumbnail for the Snorlax run. The Togepi that hatched has an adamant nature, which isn't bad, and an ability of Serene Grace, which means that moves that have a secondary effect, there's a better chance of that happening. The good news is we get access to something called Ancient Power, which gives us an Omni Boost, so we're going to be putting Serene Grace to a lot of work. With a Pokemon that can now actually attack all of the Pokemon in the Dark Cave, or in the cave coming up ahead, we make our way through and are quickly on the way to Azalea Town, where Team Rocket is. During this, I'm on a call and scar someone emotionally by telling them the Team Rocket crew is cutting off Slowpoke tails, and we gain vengeance for their innocence. Proton is the last person we have to worry about and sends Zubat out first. Ari has extra sensory, which tears through with no problem. Coughing is next, and we send out Chopsta with the goal of at least pinging it a little bit. Thundershock hits and paralyzes it, and we get hit with Smokescreen. Thundershock brings it below half and it's fully paralyzed. We miss, and it hits us with Tackle, then we take it to red. Another Tackle leaves us with 21 HP, and we manage to take it out. After that, rather than go to the gym, we choose to battle IBS instead. Ghastly is first, and we hit it with a Thundershock and paralyze it. We get hit with Spite, which doesn't do anything except for remove some PP, but we healed beforehand, so we take it below half as it uses Curse to take itself out. Zubat is next, and despite the Curse, we do stay out, hit it with Thundershock, and we're taken below half as we take it to red. Bite and Curse are enough to take us out as we switch to Ari to finish the job. Bite does a small sliver, and we manage to take it out. Quilava is last, and we immediately get hit with Smokescreen. Extrasensory does a small chunk, and we get hit with Smokescreen again. Metronome misses, and we keep getting hit with Smokescreen and miss again. Leer lowers defense, and guess what? We miss again. From here, it's an uphill battle, and we keep missing over and over. But finally, towards the back half, we're able to connect and hit enough extrasensory attacks to take it out for the battle. The rival kind of threw that, not gonna lie, but you know what? I'm sure we're gonna run into a lot more problems later. From there, we head into the gym and we take out the trainers, though there is a trainer with a Beedrill that absolutely smashed us, and it actually took us a couple times to win. I'm not proud of it, but it did happen. Against Bugsy, we send Chops out against Scyther, who immediately gets taken out with a U-turn. Not great. Ari comes out and takes out Metapod, and then out comes Scyther again. We get hit with Leer. We use Charm, and it uses Leer again as we hit a critical hit extrasensory. We bring it to yellow next attack, but the berry heals it back up some. We get hit with Quick Attack and start using Metronome in hopes of taking it out with just some god tier move, but unfortunately Bugsy does potion up. We only manage to bring it back to yellow before it takes us out. From here, we go through a long set of attempts that eventually get to level 22. With how long this is going to be, I'm going to cover some things, but I just finished the script writing not too long ago, and we're at 10 pages, and we're just now hitting page 2, so just keep that in mind. With this battle, Scyther uses U-turn, which leaves us with 1 HP, but we paralyze the Scyther. Metapod is next, and we hit Thundershock, then hit it a second time with Thundershock, to bring it to red as it tackles us to take it out and leave it paralyzed. Ari is out and Bugsy potions up as we hit extrasensory to bring it to yellow. Another extrasensory is enough to take it out. Scyther comes out and we use Charm to bring its attack down as it uses Focus Energy. We use Encore to trap it into that and begin chipping away at it with extrasensory. As we get it to yellow, the berry procs and we continue to use the same move. Thankfully, we get a flinch a few times and bring it to red, only for it to be paralyzed, and we manage to take it out. I'm fairly certain if we hadn't gotten this luck, we would have lost, because last is Kakuna, but we're able to take it out with one hit. The battle we had, that was close to 30 different attempts, with attempting Metronome, Paralyzation, Encoring, and it takes a lot of luck to line up to make this battle work, but at least we know what a winning strategy looks like. After that, we head to Goldenrod and immediately make a beeline north. There's a slim chance to catch a Ditto there, and that will finally allow us to get at least a few more baby Pokemon as we catch their evolved forms. We drop off the Ditto at daycare, and then take the few extra levels we obtained back to the gym and attempt to fight Whitney. Clefairy is the first one out, and we send out Ari. Extrasensory does about a quarter, and even though it's called Double Slap, it does so many more slaps. We use Metronome and get Mach Punch to bring it to yellow, but we unfortunately get infatuated. Whitney potions up, and we continue to Metronome in hopes to raise some of our stats as Clefairy uses Perish Song. We switch to Chopstin and use Thunder Wave, but Whitney withdraws, and Miltank uses Stomp to flinch us. Second Stomp takes us out. Ari is next, and due to low HP, we get taken out pretty quickly. Once again, we are entering a long string of losing attempts, but this time it's mostly due to infatuation. It irritates me so much because we have gotten so close to beating Whitney at least a dozen times, but because of infatuation we keep using. This move against a decent Pokemon who also has a move that can cause flinching makes this very difficult, but let's try again. Once we get to level 8, we send out Ari for Clefairy as it uses Metronome and gets Leaf Blade, a strong move, but not for it. We continue to ping away at it with Extrasensory until it goes down. Now we go for our plan and pray. Miltank is out and we send out Chopstick because we need to paralyze it twice before going down due to the berry it has. The berry heals up any status move immediately, so if we can at least paralyze it twice, That'll save us some trouble in the long run. Stomp brings us to 26 damage. We were able to get the Thunder Wave off, but again, immediately negated. We use Thunder Wave again and it gets paralyzed. We use Sweet Kiss then to confuse it to increase our survival chance a bit longer. It hits itself and we begin using Charm to bring its attack down. Stomp then critical hits, of course, and immediately takes us out. We send Ari back out, and from here, honestly, is such a long battle, I don't even want to recap it. Not only does Miltank have Attract, which is an annoying move, it also has Milk Drink, which gives it its health back and makes it an absolute tank. I'm not going to waste your time, because looking at the timestamp, this battle took about 9.5 minutes. We use Wish to stay healthy, it uses Milk Drink to stay healthy, it has turns that it's paralyzed, we have turns that we're infatuated, and it's an all-out slog. Finally, at one point, we're able to bring it below half and hit a critical hit extrasensory to bring it down, and finally win us the third badge. That was an absolute nightmare of a battle to go through. And you know what? It makes me happy because even as an adult, I can still be traumatized by a single Pokemon. That's great news. From there, it's time to head to Mahogany Town, and here is where I mess up, and while it is funny, it makes me a little sad. We head to the Burnt Tower, and it's time to square up against IBS. Ghastly is first, and we send out Ari. Ghastly opens up with Curse, and we use Extra Sensory, which thankfully does take it out, but we do lose a chunk of HP. We switch to Chopsa when Magnemite comes out to avoid any more HP loss. We use Thunder Wave to paralyze it, and it hits us with Supersonic. After that, we switch back to Ari now that the curse isn't there and we get hit with Thunder Wave. We then start using Extra Sensory, which isn't effective, but a lot more effective than Thunder Shock would be. Thankfully, Serene Grace does kick in and we flinch the first turn and the third turn. Magnemite ends up getting paralyzed, letting us take it down not long after. Next is Quilava, and we send out Chopsa to hit it with Thunder Wave. Flame Wheel hits us hard and leaves us with 1 HP, and thankfully it spends the next turn getting paralyzed, letting us chip at it a little bit of damage before we're taken out. Ari comes out and we get hit with Smokescreen, and here we go again. We both spend the next turn paralyzed, and Smokescreen starts hitting again, but we're not missing yet, and we finally manage to take it out a few turns later, though our accuracy is completely shot by now and we only have 16 HP. Finally, Zubat is out, and we cross our fingers as we get hit with a Wing Attack down to 7 and stay paralyzed. We get hit with a Bite down to 1 HP, and Extra Sensory takes it out for the one-shot. And here's where I mess up. I didn't think to heal after battle, get stuck in a battle with a Wild Rattata that takes a bite out of Airy. We faint, and Reflex kicks in, and I restart, so we have to do this battle again. But that battle doesn't go as cool as this one, so I'm not going to cover it. We win again, heal up, and head downstairs to make the doggos run off. From there, we spend some time running around until we get a Magmar. We leave it in the daycare and run back and forth until we receive an egg. We head back to Ecruteak, and from there we spend a few minutes running around until the egg hatches, giving us a Magby. Magby is a fun fire type, and we decide to name this one Rain-Coated. Rain-Coated is a PNG tuber who enjoys anime and plays fun games like Dragon Age and Breath of the Wild. You'll absolutely love her. And she also likes to come in when I'm playing Dead by Daylight, yeah, another casual plug, and makes me flip the controller upside down and take off my glasses at the same time, so, you know, a little sadistic, it's fine. Its ability is Flame Body, which, not surprised, and has a timid nature which raises speed and lowers the attack, which is fine since we can find plenty of special attack moves if the one stat ends up higher. After that, it's time to head back into the gym, where we're able to easily tear our way through some trainers. Rain-Coated is putting in the work here. So, in no time at all, it's time to face off against Morty. Morty starts off with Ghastly, and we send out Rain-Coated, who we leveled up appropriately for obvious reasons. Fire Punch takes out Ghastly in one shot, and next up is Gengar. Gengar opens up with Sucker Punch and gets burnt, but we land a critical hit Fire Punch and take it out. Haunter is next, and you guessed it, goes down to a single Fire Punch. The last up is another Haunter, and it hangs on with a sliver from a Fire Punch and uses Nightshade. Morty potions up, and we nail a critical hit to finally take it down. After having back-to-back gym battles where we had to level up and change strategies 100 times, it's nice to have a fairly simple and first-try victory. With that, we have a decent chunk of travel ahead, so I want to take a moment to remind you kindly to like and subscribe to the channel. We're working hard on content, editing our own material, and for right now, still holding down a 40-hour per week job. We're working as hard as we can on the content to make this a full-time career, and just a few button clicks goes a long way to help out. If you want to see part of these challenges live, as you'll see with some footage later on in this video, make sure to come hang out on Twitch. It's always fun to get to talk to other Pokemon fans, and our community that we have already loves Pokemon, so you'd fit right in. And through the power of script writing and video editing, we're ready to face off against Chuck. Primeape is out first, and we send out Togepi since it does have a Psychic move, however weak it may be against fighting types. We take about a quarter of its health, and Primeape is trying its hardest to Focus Punch, but we aren't going to let that happen. It gets frustrated and uses Rock Slide before going down to another extra sensory. Poliwrath is next, and we switch to Chopsta. We've taught it Thunderbolt by now, and it's also trying to use Focus Punch, so we use another Thunderbolt to bring it to yellow, then a Berry activates. Body Slam brings us down to 1 HP, and another Body Slam obviously takes us down. From there, we send out Rain-Coated, mostly to waste time at this point. We use Fire Punch for what is probably only 1 HP of damage, only to get taken out by Surf. Mostly just wanted to try that for the burn. Ari is last, so we use Extra Sensory to bring it to yellow, and we get hit hard with Body Slam. Chuck unfortunately potions up next turn, and we use Wish to try and get HP back, but we use a badly placed Metronome, and Focus Punch immediately takes us out. Alright, let's try that some more. Primeape is first, and we use Lava Plume from Rain-Coated to burn it, so even with Double Team, we know we'll get some kind of damage. Focus Punch brings us low, but thankfully the next Lava Plume does take it out. Next is Poliwrath, and we use Smoke Screen as it misses Surf. We use Smoke Screen again, and Body Slam misses. We then switch to offense with Lava Plume and burn it as Hypnosis misses. From there, it's an odd battle because Poliwrath just can't hit us. It gets healed up, but the burn and the onslaught of attacks are quickly dwindling its HP down. We did need a couple levels to get Lava Plume, but 2 levels to be able to win? I won't complain about that. From there, it's time to deliver some medicine to a sick Ampharos, but Jasmine has to provide it, because if not, it'll bite our hand off. We finish that up and head to the gym as we send out Rain-Coated, which takes out the first Magnemite with a single Lava Plume. Steelix is next, and we switch to Chopsta to use Thunder Wave, forgetting, it's part ground. So we begin using Charm to wreck its attack. It uses Iron Tail and gets paralyzed off of us with our static ability, and from there we hit it with Sweet Kiss. It hurts itself a few too many times before Iron Tail takes us out. Ari is next, and we begin using Ancient Power. Serene Grace mixed with Ancient Power makes this a somewhat risky gambit, but when it works, it works. We exhaust our Ancient Powers to try to get the boost, and use Wish again to regain any lost HP before we switch to the slightly stronger Extra Sensory attack. Unfortunately, the next Iron Tail does hit and take us out. Last is Rain-Coated, and we use Lava Plume, which leaves Steelix with a sliver. Rock Throw does a small chunk, and Jasmine potions up as we use Fire Punch to critical hit to bring it above half. Then it's Lava Plume to take it down, and the last one up is our final Magnemite. However, Steelix, as we know, was the real problem, and the Magnemite immediately goes down to a single Lava Plume. After that, it's some more rocket nonsense, and really the only cool part is when Dragonite Hyper Beams a man who doesn't go blasting off like most Team Rocket members do. Like I've said in previous videos for games, I won't be covering a lot of this, and that's mostly because this is just a slog. I love Gen 2 games, but the level curve in the Team Rocket stuff is very long. Not as long as others, but you know what I mean. In no time at all, it's time to fight Price, who uses Ice and Water Pokemon. Seal is up first, and we send out Chopsta, who uses Thunderbolt to bring it below half as it begins using Hail. Another Thunderbolt is enough to take it out. As Piloswine comes out, we switch to Ari because Mud Bomb is terrifying. But so is Blizzard, and that takes us down to 21 HP. We use Ancient Power because why not, and another Blizzard is enough to take us out. We may have to try and bait those out, but that's a later problem. Rain-Coated is next, and Lava Plume takes it to yellow as a berry heals it up. Mud Bomb then immediately takes us out with a crit, leaving us with the fearsome Chopsta, who immediately gets taken out by Ice Fang. Take 2. Seal is first, of course, so we use Thunderbolt to bring it to low yellow. It uses Icy Wind this time, which is perfect because we can land another Thunderbolt and not worry about the chip damage and the Blizzard accuracy. Piloswine is next, and we start with Rain-Coated and hit it with Lava Plume, which takes it to yellow and lands the burn this time around. Its Berry heals it, and it sets up Hail, allowing us to hit it with another Lava Plume to bring it down. Last up is Dugong, and we send out Chopsta to hit it with a Thunderbolt to bring it to half. Aurora Beam takes us down to 23, and Hail brings us down a little bit further. Just when I think a second Thunderbolt will do the job, Dugong uses Icy Shard, and we go down. I send out Ari, and I hope you guys like long battles, because here's another ridiculously long fight. Dugong has Rest, which heals it of any status ailments that it would possibly have. While it's asleep, it also has Sleep Talk, allowing it to still attack. Because of that, it keeps healing up. Oh, and Price also has full restores if we get it too low, because you want to keep your Pokemon healthy. On our side, we're using Wish to stay healthy, but after a long set of minutes, Ari is finally taken down as Dugong falls into the red. From there, Rain-Coated comes in and is finally able to take it out with a single hit. With that, that's 7 badges down, and we have a final bit of Team Rocket that we need to go take care of. Most of the radio tower is a complete joke, but I did want to bring up the fight against Sterling Archer, codenamed Duchess. This was part of the live stream, and you can see during the time I had my first sponsor, Star Trek Fleet Command. Houndour's up first, and we send out Rain-Coated, who uses Smokescreen. Houndour uses Faint Attack that almost brings us to half. We switch out to bring out Chopsta, and Faint Attack takes us to yellow. We use Thunderbolt in an attempt to do some damage and maybe paralyze, but Fire Fang takes us out next turn. Ari is next, and we begin using the Ancient Power Gambit, and the second one does bring it down as Coughing comes out. We hit with Ancient Power, and unfortunately, Sludge brings us low and poisons us, so the next turn we go down after an extra sensory. Rain-Coated is out next, and we take Coughing, and last up is Houndour. Fortunately, we don't have to worry about it since a single Feint Attack takes us out. From there, you wouldn't believe how long I spend on lost attempts. Looking through the footage is nearly 30 minutes of losing time, so big thanks to the chat for sticking through this with me. By the time we're up to level 43, I'm ready for this battle to be done. Houndour hits us with Fire Fang, and we take it to half with Ancient Power and get the boost. Another Fire Fang does significantly less, and we use another Ancient Power and get the boost a second time. When Coughing comes out, we extra sensory just to prevent the possible poison, and it goes down in a single shot. With Houndoom, we switch back to Ancient Power as it uses Fire Fang. Thankfully, due to the boost, Ancient Power is doing a good chunk of damage, and a second one brings it to red. However, another Fire Fang is enough to finally bring Togepi down. We send out Chopsta to see if we can do anything, but immediately get taken down. However, we do paralyze the Houndoom this time around. After that, Rain-Coated is able to come out and tap it with a Fire Punch and take it down. That was literally the only Team Rocket member that gave me any kind of problem throughout this entire nonsensical side quest. After that, it's time for us to head to Blackthorn City, but more importantly, it allows us to access Ice Path. Ice Path holds a Jinx, and we nab one, send it to daycare, and soon enough, we're able to add a new teammate to the team. A Smoochum that we name Kraken, standing for Kraken_Inferno. If you ever want to see a streamer who is hyped and a lot of fun, he's the person to check out. He wears crazy hats like me, he has some amazing fun glasses, and makes every stream great. Smoochum has a docile nature, which allows us to break even, and has the ability Forewarn, which at least tells us what the strongest attack will be of the opponent, so essentially it's just a walking Google Doc. We level up our Smoochum, and it's time to head to Claire, who sends out Gyarados first. Gyarados opens with Bite and takes Chopsta down to 7 HP, and we take it to yellow. Thankfully, it gets paralyzed, which allows us a second attack to take it out. Dragonair is next, and we switch to Kraken, who hits us with Aqua Tail all the way down to 9 HP. Blizzard connects to take it out. The next Dragonair uses Slam and takes out the poor Kraken, and we send out Rain-Coated. Rain-Coated uses Flamethrower, and Dragonair uses Thunder Wave. This allows it to attack first, with Dragon Pulse bringing us well below half as we hit it again. Claire withdraws the Dragonair, which is odd, but goes to Kingdra, who immediately takes us down. We send out Chopsta, who immediately gets taken down, and then when Ari comes out, a Hydro Pump nearly takes us down. We land a soft Ancient Power, and then we get taken down by Dragon Pulse. From there, we're beginning to realize the issue with a lot of these baby Pokemon. We're starting to go against a lot of fully evolved Pokemon now, and the only two on our team that can even take a hit, typically, are Togepi and Magby. Pichu is a pretty weak Pokemon overall, and is mostly just used in hopes of paralysis. And then we have Smoochum, who also has pretty abysmal stats as well. The Ice typing overall is one that I consistently wished was a better type, but it's just so weak. And it's a baby Pokemon, so if Smoochum doesn't hit first, there's a good chance it's probably not going to hit at all. 3 attempts into level 50, we're taking Gyarados down to red with an attack, which makes Claire use her Hyper Potion, which is fine by me. Unfortunately, Bite is still doing a lot, but we're able to take it out with 2 hits before it can knock us out. Dragonair is next, and we switch to Kraken, and we use Blizzard, which takes it out. The next Dragonair is up, and we use Blizzard, which connects and takes it out as well. Last up is Kingdra, and here's where we just start trying to ping it to death. Hydro Pump misses, and we hit hard with Blizzard, and the Berry is used. The next Hydro Pump connects and takes us down to 45 as we hit another Blizzard, bringing it to red. Claire uses Full Restore and Kraken uses Psychic. The next Hydro Pump connects and does take us out. As we switch to Chopsta, we don't move first, unfortunately, and Hydro Pump also takes out Chopsta. But at this point, because for whatever reason it has terrifying accuracy, we're just trying to get through all the Hydro Pumps being used. Rain-Coated is next and uses Smokescreen, and Hydro Pump one-shots Rain-Coated. We send out Ari, who gets hit hard with Hyper Beam and uses Ancient Power and gets the boost. We use Ancient Power as it recharges and get another boost. The next Hyper Beam misses, allowing Ancient Power to hit and get a third boost, and then one more attack finally does the trick. With that battle out of the way, it brings a close to at least the beginning of this challenge. We take on Victory Road, and it's time to fight the rival for one of the last times. There is another battle, but it is 100% optional in Mount Moon. IBS leads with a Sneasel, and we start with Chopsta, who uses Thunderbolt to bring it to half. Icy Wind hits for a small bit of damage, and Feint Attack next turn brings us low as we use another Thunderbolt to bring it down. Golbat is next, and it uses Bite, which does take us out. We send out Ari next, and Golbat hits us with Confuse Ray, but we do break through to do extra sensory and bring it to half. Air Cutter does a small bit of damage, and we switch to Ancient Power that brings it to red as we get Confuse Rayed again. We break through again, and land an Ancient Power to take it out. Typhlosion is next, and we get hit with Lava Plume, Burnt, and hit ourselves in Confusion. Another Lava Plume is enough to take us down, and we send out Rain-Coated, who uses Feint Attack to deal about a quarter damage. We keep using Feint Attack, and Typhlosion uses Swift, and we finally take it down with 27 HP to spare. Haunter is next, and we use Feint Attack for a one-shot, and then Kadabra, who also goes down to a Feint Attack. Finally, we have Magneton, which we hit hard with Flamethrower to take it down, winning a narrow victory. We didn't have Kraken with us due to the amount of HMs that we need to use, but I don't know how much use Kraken would have been, if I'm being honest. From there, it's time to fight the Elite Four, and I'll be honest, I'm not feeling super confident. Mostly because we're at the point now where our baby Pokemon aren't strong enough to take out anything in one hit. However, our opponents are very strong and can take us down with one hit if they desire. Will first sends out Xatu, and we lead with Rain-Coated and open up with Feint Attack. It may be a weaker move without Stab, but it is super effective. We get confused, but manage to go past that and take it out with the second attack. Slowbro's next, and we switch out to Chopsta, who uses Thunderbolt to take it to yellow as Slowbro begins to bulk up with Curse. Another Thunderbolt is able to do the job and take it out without too much of an issue. Exeggutor is next, and I'm realizing how well we match up against this particular trainer as we use Flamethrower to take it out with one clean shot. We have Jinx, who is also weak to fire, and we use Flamethrower to take it out as well. Last is Xatu, and we switch back to Chopsta, mostly to save PP on individual moves, and we use the Thunderbolt, which takes it to yellow before the berry activates. Xatu uses Confuse Ray, because of course it does, and we manage to push past it to hit for another knockout, winning us the first of the Elite Four. Next up is Koga, who runs poison types, and we try to counter this with Kraken due to the psychic typing. Ariados is first, and Kraken uses Psychic to take it down with one shot. Muck is next, and we're going to continue to use, you guessed it, Psychic. That's another easy... Oh no. Gunk Shot is fired back and immediately takes us out, and it heals up a little bit due to Black Sludge, which, if you aren't aware, is basically the equivalent of having leftovers. We send out Ari, who has extra sensory, but unfortunately Koga heals up. We take it below half, then Muck begins to minimize, but we thankfully manage to hit past that and bring it down with a second critical hit. Next is Fortress, who is 4 times weak to fire, so we exploit that with Flamethrower to take it down with one hard hit. Next up is Crobat, who we send out Chopstick against. Crobat is naturally faster because Crobat is an absolute monster. It uses Double Team, and we smack it with Thunderbolt, leaving it above half after its berry. It continues to Double Team, but we still manage to land a critical hit to take it out. Finally, it's Venomoth, who, according to Scott's thoughts, has a million different types, and each one is technically correct. We do about a quarter damage, and Psychic does about half. Thunderbolt hits us again to bring us to low yellow as it uses Toxic. However, we're able to survive, land another Thunderbolt, take it out, and win the second of the Elite Four. Third up is Bruno, and this is a fight I'm not looking forward to. His Pokemon hit hard, and our babies are very weak. Hitmontop is first, and we use Psychic to take it to what has to be 1 HP. Hitmontop uses Dig, and we switch to Ari, the only Mon who isn't dealt super effective damage by the hits. Then Bruno heals as we use Ancient Power. It doesn't do much, but we do have the possibility to get the boost. From there, we begin a long battle of using Wish to stay healthy, Ancient Power when we're guaranteed a hit, and then switching to Charm and Extra Sensory when we know we're gonna miss. I never pictured a baby Pokemon run having a stall battle, but Ancient Power with Serene Grace is silly enough to give us the defense to stall. We finally managed to take out Hitmontop, and they switched to Hitmonlee, and I was prepared to let Kraken take care of this. Unfortunately, we get Blaze Kicked into Oblivion with a super effective critical hit kick to the face. We send out Ari again, and a high jump kick immediately takes us out. We send out Chopsta, and he lands a Thunderbolt, and a crit only makes it land in yellow, and a high jump kick immediately downs us. Rain-Coated comes out and uses Flamethrower to take it out. Rain-Coated uses Feint Attack for very little against Onix, and we get brought to 12 with an Earthquake. We use Flamethrower for a surprising amount of damage, but it's not enough, and we unfortunately go down. For the sake of this very long script and video, let's just go ahead and skip to the winning attempt all the way at level 60. And it still requires an insane amount of luck. Hitmontop is first, and by now, we're sending out Ari first to make sure we're taking the unnecessary hits. Thankfully, we're getting multiple boosts at this point, which is huge, and Wish keeps us almost at full health. Critical hits can still be scary, but everything else is weak at this point, as we tear Hitmontop down with Extra Sensory. When Hitmonlee comes out, and due to the boosts, we outspeed and take it down with a single Extra Sensory as it uses Swagger to boost our attack. Too bad we don't have any other physical attack moves. Bruno heals up and we push past Confusion to take Hitmonlee back to red. Snapping out of the Confusion, we take it out. Machamp is next and we bring it to red with Extra Sensory. The berry brings it to yellow, and Revenge smacks us hard. Here is where I mess up. And I use Wish to try getting health, but Cross Chop immediately takes us out. We switch to Rain-Coated because that's easily our next best Mon. Flamethrower is enough to take it down, and from there, we only have Onix and Hitmonchan. Flamethrower hits Onix for a good portion of its HP as we get hit with Earthquake down to 17 whole HP. The next Flamethrower does take it out. Last is Hitmonchan, and we use Flamethrower to bring it to half, and Fire Punch takes us out. Chopsta's out, and we use Thunder Wave because if we can't take it out, we at least want to be a pain in the butt. We go down to 33 HP, and we use Thunderbolt, which takes it to red where it stays paralyzed. A full restore later, we use Thunderbolt again to take about a quarter of its health out when we Thunder Wave it again to leave it paralyzed. It then stays paralyzed for 2 turns before we use Sweet Kiss to confuse it and hope that it smacks itself, which it does, and a final Thunderbolt beats it. We heal up, and next is Karen, and I realized something. I have nothing, and I mean nothing, to counter her dark types. There are some with secondary typing that we can match up again, but nothing directly affects the dark typing. Umbreon is first, and we send out Kraken to attempt Blizzard to bring maybe Freeze, maybe one hit. Neither of those happen. We bring it to yellow, and a single Feint attack takes us out. We switch to Rain-Coated, who uses Flamethrower, and that only takes it to red, and then Karen uses a Full Restore, and switches to Houndoom, which has Flash Fire, and we're in trouble. We switch to Ari, and the Houndoom begins bulking up with Nasty Plot, and then uses Dark Plot to one-shot us. Chops, of course, goes down to a single Crunch, and then Rain-Coated is only able to chip away a little of its health before they also go down. After talking with chat, picking up some new moves, and leveling up with some failed attempts in between, we make our way back through the Elite Four and try again. We send out Kraken first as usual, and Blizzard still isn't a one-hit as Umbreon uses Double Team. We miss the next Blizzard, and Feint Attack takes us down to 33 HP as we use Snow Powder and miss, only to be hit with Payback that takes us out. We send out Rain-Coated, and Flamethrower finishes off the Umbreon, and Murkrow is next, so we keep in Rain-Coated because we have a plan. Flamethrower fries the bird and takes it down, and next up is Houndoom, the one that ended 22 separate attempts on stream. We switch to Ari, and it's time for super effective Ancient Power Serene Grace Luck. We take a decent chunk of health and get the boost. Then take it to red next turn before the berry. We get hit with Flamethrower again and go down, but we're in much better shape than before. With Chopsa being able to outspeed, we hit it with Thunderbolt to finally take down the Doggo Menace. Gengar is next, and we leave in Chopsa, who uses Thunder Wave to the Grinning Boy. It stays paralyzed, and we use Thunderbolt, which does about half as Focus Blast brings us below half. Thankfully, a second Thunderbolt is enough to do the job. Vileplume is last, and we still have Rain-Coated in the back, but I'm not taking chances. We paralyze first, Petal Dance takes us out, then we switch to Rain-Coated. We've literally never gotten to this point before in any prior attempts, and Flamethrower hits it hard to take it down with one hit to finally get us past Karen. Next up is Lance, and he starts with Gyarados, so we send out Chopsa, who uses Thunderbolt to take it out. Dragonite is next, and we switch to Kraken to hit Blizzard or Prey, and yes, it's taken out. Not sure if the critical hit mattered, mind you. Next up is Aerodactyl, and we switch to Chopsa, who gets hit with a Rock Slide and immediately taken out. We send out Kraken, who gets hit with Crunch, to also get taken out in one hit. Ari? Rock Slide misses, thankfully, and we use Extra Sensory that does a small chunk of damage. Rock Slide does a little, and we bring it to just above half with Extra Sensory. Another Rock Slide connects, and we get brought below half as we use Wish. Next turn, Rock Slide, you guessed, misses, allowing us to get Ancient Power, get the boost, and heal up all in the same turn. Lance heals up, but at least we know Ancient Power is doing more damage as we use another Ancient Power to bring it to half. Rock Slide, in turn, is doing far less now. We use Wish to get back some HP before avoiding Rock Slide, using another Extra Sensory and healing up. A few turns later, Aerodactyl goes down as Dragonite comes out, not wanting to squander the boost given to us, and honestly having very few choices. We switch to Return and deal a chunk of damage as Dragon Rush beats us into the ground in just a few turns. And a Thunder. And a Full Restore, because why wouldn't you want your dragon healthy to finish electrocuting us? We send out Rain-Coated, who uses Flamethrower for a quarter. We get paralyzed, then Dragon Rush down to 5 HP. We manage to bring it below half before Dragon Rush finishes us off. Take 2. Gyarados comes out, and Pichu takes it down in a single shot. Next up is Dragonite, and we switch to Kraken again to use Blizzard. We connect, and now we know that we don't need a critical hit to finish it off. Aerodactyl's next, and we switch to Ari to begin our stall strategy. Rock Slide hits us for decent damage, and we use Ancient Power, get hit with another Rock Slide, and use Ancient Power again. In hindsight, I probably should have played it safe and used Wish, but we got the boost. Rock Slide connects, but due to our boost, we stay alive, but flinch, and then Aerial Ace takes us down. Chops is out, and Rock Slide thankfully misses, and we take it out with a Thunderbolt, where the crit is certainly overkill. Dragonite is out, and we switch back to Kraken and cross our fingers. Dragon Rush thankfully misses, but Blizzard does not, and we take it out with a single shot. Charizard is out and we go back to Chopsa, who uses Thunderbolt to take it to yellow. Fire Fang brings us down to 48 HP, and we manage to take it out with another Thunderbolt. The final Dragonite is up, and we thankfully move first and immediately use Thunder Wave to get immediate payoff. Thunderbolt is doing a decent chunk of damage, and Dragon Rush misses. We use Sweet Kiss, which misses, but Dragonite stays paralyzed as we miss another Sweet Kiss, then go down. We send out Kraken and use Blizzard, and take it out to secure the victory. From here, you may be thinking the run is over or we've won, or you've played HeartGold and know that's definitely not true. We have to move on to the Kanto region, which involves 8 more gyms, a couple fetch quests, and a final fight against Red. Let's go. Now, the second thing about Kanto is that a majority of the leaders aren't hard to take on. They're all lower level than the Elite Four except for Blue, but he also won't fight us until we have the other remaining badges, and for very good reason. Let's go ahead and cover his battle. Blue sends out Exeggutor, and I realize my camera has been on, so we turn that off because we're not on stream. We send out Rain-Coated and use Flamethrower and are able to take it out with a single shot. Rhydon is next, and this is where we run into some problems. We send out Kraken, and we hit Psychic, but even with its paper-thin special defense, it survives, and it immediately annihilates us with Stone Edge. We send out Ari, but we're slower, and get hit with a critical hit, one-shot Stone Edge. We send out Rain-Coated, who used Flamethrower, but it hangs on with a Sliver, and thankfully this time misses Stone Edge. But then Blue full restores, and we use Flamethrower again, and then one more time before a Stone Edge connects, and takes us out with one shot. Since Pichu and Elekid can't even touch it, we just go ahead and move on. After plenty of lost attempts and a bit of trying to level up, I realized that we have one more option for baby Pokemon, and while it's not the greatest, it does give us a little bit more move diversity. So we grab Tyrogue and level it appropriately, and then head back to the gym and try again. And at this point, we have a full team due to our Elekid we named Bargain Bin for Bargain Bin Gaming, a variety streamer with similar energy to mine. And our Tyrogue is Sprigleaf, a D&D lover who streams frequently and is an overall great individual. Exeggutor is first and still goes down to a single hit with Flamethrower from Rain-Coated. Next up is Rhydon, and we send out Kraken to deal with it, and we hit Blizzard, which is enough to take it down with one shot. Arcanine is next, and we send out Chopsta at the very least to paralyze it. We use Thunder and take about a quarter damage and paralyze it. Flare Blitz hits us hard for the one shot, and the recoil takes it below half. We send out Sprigleaf, who uses Earthquake to take down the doggo. Next up is Pidgeot, and we send out Bargain Bin, who uses Thunder and takes it down. Machamp is next. We send Kraken back out, who uses Psychic to bring it down with one shot. Gyarados is last, and we're able to finish it with a single Thunder from Bargain Bin. Thank you, 4x weakness. From here, I want to say I'm sorry. And who I'm sorry to is Chopsta. You've been with us since day one, but it's time for you to go into early retirement. Bargain Bin is a bit stronger, and we need every bit of power that we're going to get to go fight Red. I'm sure you guys know how these battles went, so we're going to go ahead and skip forward because we try Shell Bell, Silk Scarf, Focus Sash, literally everything I can think of before we do Bite the Bullet and level up some of our Pokemon up to a level 100. First up for Red is Pikachu, and we send out Rain-Coated, the absolute MVP for this challenge. Rain-Coated outspeeds, thankfully, and Flamethrower takes it out with a single shot. Blastoise is next, and we send out Bargain Bin, and we use Thunder, which takes it to Red and paralyze it. And that immediately pays off, which is great, because Blizzard ended so many attempts. Red uses a full restore, and we use Thunderbolt to bring it below half and heal up with the Shell Bell, which basically negates the hail damage. Another Thunderbolt is enough to finish it off. Snorlax is up, and we send out Sprig Leaf, and we use Brick Break, which only does about a quarter. Blizzard hits us hard, and we brace ourselves and use Brick Break again to take it to yellow before getting taken out by Blizzard. We had to make sure to land him in the yellow, but not enough to get him healed, because from here, we send out Bargain Bin, who uses Low Kick and finishes off the tank. Lapras is next, and a Thunder brings it to yellow and paralyzes it, hopefully avoiding a full restore as we get hit with Blizzard into yellow, down to nice. A Thunderbolt takes it out. Charizard comes out, and we go for Thunderbolt to deal some guaranteed damage as we bring it to yellow, and then we get hit with Air Slash. Living through that and the hail damage, Red uses a full restore, and we use Thunderbolt again, healing up a little as it gets brought to Red. Yep, he uses another full restore. We're stalling as best as we can and getting some HP back from the damage we deal, but we do finally end up taking it out. Venusaur is next, and going for a Hail Mary, we use Thunder, do very little damage, but we do manage to paralyze it. Sludge Bomb critical hits and takes us down, and we switch over to Rain-Coated using Flamethrower and taking it to Red as Sleep Powder misses, and Hail leaves it with a Sliver. Red heals up, and we use another Flamethrower to bring it to yellow, and then use another one to take it out to finally win the run. Baby Pokemon honestly was a lot harder to win this than I thought, and I don't know how some people have done hardcore Nuzlocke with Baby Pokemon. Granted, it is in different generations where there's a few more options, but this was difficult. For next week, I'm not entirely sure what we're gonna do, but I have been working on the Ghastly only run in Fire Red, so it's probably going to be that. Unfortunately, where I caught COVID back in November, and the holidays being right after that, we fell very behind just trying to scramble and get everything set up for the new year. So I'm going to try and make sure that I get caught back up, so it's probably going to be a couple easy ones. If you have suggestions of other runs that you would like to see, whether it's in Pokemon or even other games, because I do like the challenge run aspect, make sure to leave it in the comments below or join the Discord and tell me there. And, as always, if you like the video, even if you didn't like the video, think about hitting the like and subscribe button, because it really does help me out. And until next time, everybody, peace out.